Hey, this is Second Soundwave. This is my follow-up video to the Red Frame Astray Kai. This is where I talk about the tactical arms, which is the biggest weapon this kit has. And as you can see, it's so big that even at an angle, I cannot fit it all in screen, because it is just so big. It does have a stand. I'm going to just briefly talk about the stand. This is a standard Action Base 4. I never built one of these, but they're pretty cool. I like how all the pipe sculpting lines up no matter how you arrange these two bottom pieces, and so you can like link a bunch of bases together. It's got an arm here. It's got like different points it clicks into. You can release this catch, slide it up and down, lock it in. Hinges, this is here. This comes off. This piece, top piece comes off. There's different adapters. There's one for plugging around the leg area of a figure. The Astray itself comes when you clip underneath that just pops directly down on. This one also comes with the Astray. It's designed specifically to plug into the sword, but you also get one for plugging into high grades. You get one for, this looks like sort of for hooking into the striker pack connector that some of the Siege MDs have, and you get the normal short arm, because this one actually has a much longer arm than the, as you can see, than the normal Action Base has, just so it can hold that enormous sword. And let's move on and talk about that enormous sword now. One of these things is a little loose, which is a bit of a shame. I don't think the ABS is quite doing its job there. But it is just massive. I mean, there's no other way to describe this thing. He can hold it. There's 3 tabs here and 1 here, so we can hold it like a gun, or you can hold it like a sword. But you kind of have to have it like stood up on the stand and then have him hold it, and it's just... I've taken some shots with it. It is very hard to pose with, but it looks just oh so cool once you have it properly utilized. He does have a connector that you pop onto here, and you can slap it right onto that back port. And now you have the most back-heavy Gundam I've ever built. But if you don't want it to look like a giant sword, you want it to be something a little more sleek, something futuristic, well, that's where Delta mode comes in. You pop this back, and I think this way. Rotate these up, because this whole sword transforms into like a ton of different modes. You swing these around, rotate them back. Pull this off, reattach it. That does not swivel, unfortunately. I believe you just have those arms down, and then you pull the tips of the swords out, and you swing them around. There are a lot of modes to go through in this guy. I'm just going to quickly go through as many as I can. This is a Delta mode. This is sort of a standby mode. If I can get this to... This is like it's some standby mode, kind of. This is what you see it with on the box. It does have a giant gun coming out of the back. I'm not a huge fan of that. Although you can just pull this off. Pull it off, and it's a separate sort of blowtorch. He does come with a pair of yellow beam sabers, so that you can stick one in the polycap, and it's a blowtorch. So pretty cool. And if you don't like this one, you can actually bring the blades all the way down, swing them back up a bit, swing the fins up, and then I think you're supposed to like do some stuff to these and like bring them up, or maybe they're the other way for this mode. I think I had them backwards for them. But one of them you swing them up, one of them you swing them down, and now you have a more sort of flight pack looking thing. And I think technically you're supposed to tab it in down here, but that hole does not hold as well, so I don't usually use it. Let's see, what else is there? Well, there is an actual flight mode. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. It's this way. Actually, it's pretty much in flight mode right now. You just kind of bring the wings forward a little more, tilt these down at about a 45, push this in. Push. I'm guessing it's in. Yeah, it's in. Then you take the peg, rotate it up, and then you take that hole, drop it in, and you have arguably one of the worst looking Gundam flight packs ever. Now, you can take the stand and sort of like pop it in there. I'm not going to do too much with it, but you can see It's kind of cumbersome. It's not a very good flight mode, but it is a thing. It does exist. Next up, how about we do... Let's do claw mode next. Or I guess work mode, I think it's called. Swing these out of the way. Basically, you just have these opened up and sort of out. And I think you actually pull this right off. Or maybe you keep these in like this. Yeah, you keep these in like this. And this is called, pop this back on. This is called work mode or something. It's basically just a big death claw that's, even though it looks like it'd be an incredibly intimidating weapon, it's just used for like repairing the ship and stuff. So, yeah, he can hold it, barely, but it's just a big claw weapon. Now, unless I'm forgetting anything, I'm going to move on to the coolest mode. The reason I got this kit, by the way, is bow and arrow mode. Now, take these, swing them back around, I think like this, bring them up, yeah, bring them up. I think these are supposed to be rotated this way. Maybe they go the other way, I don't know, I'm kind of fudging this. There are instructions for these modes. I'm sure I could look them up online and talk about how horribly wrong I'm doing this, but basically none of these have really any hard locking points. You just kind of put things where you want them, and that's kind of the fun of this kit, is that you just put the stuff where you want the stuff to be, and then you stick the beam right there, and now you have a bow and arrow. This looks very cool when he's holding it. Actually, why don't I make it a little more impressive in its wingspan. This looks incredible when he's holding it. It does, and this is mostly why the stand's included, is so you can tab in like that, and then have him sort of, I'm not going to try to get him into like an actual proper bow pose because that would take too long, but basically just stick one hand there, and then you're supposed to tab the other hand up here. It is quite a stretch. You have to like bend this arm all the way back and this one all the way forward, and he'll just barely reach, but I have done it before. It is very possible. Also, if you want, you can just take the whole bow and arrow assembly and just slap it on his back, or, excuse me as things fall off left and right, or you can pop it on that connector here, this backpack connector, and just, let me get this backpack connector on. Ah, have it on backwards, okay. This backpack connector, just slap it on like that. Obviously remove the beam since he's probably not shooting it off his back, but he can store it, and it looks pretty darn cool. Now, you get some leftover blue frame Astray parts for this guy. First up, unfortunately you don't get the whole feet, but you do get the bottom of the feet. And they have these cool toe knives that like slide out. I wish they include the top part of the feet, because then you could give them like secret ninja dagger toe knives. And that would be very cool, but they don't include them. Kind of a shame. You get a pair of combat knives with sheaths that store, basically they mount where the katanas are mounted right now, so they just kind of stick in there. You get some random little miscellaneous body parts. And then you get some alternate parts for the tactical arms. And you can convert this back into Blue Frame's tactical arms, which is another part of why I got it, because you're basically getting both kits in one. So, you take this piece right off. You take this whole gray piece, oh, not, well, actually the whole gray piece, that just pulled off the top part. But it is two pieces, actually more than two pieces, but there's a top and a bottom. Pull all that stuff off. I'm going to just put this back into something that kind of resembles a sword. Excuse me for a second. You've seen this transformation 2 or 3 times already. You know exactly what I'm doing by now, so just bear with me for just a second. There. Now, you're going to take this Gatling gun barrel, which looks great, click it right in there, and then the old handle, Which, one thing that's cool about this old handle, by the way, same connection method, so you can stick a beam saber in here and make like a cool sort of beam staff weapon. Just thought I'd point that out. It's a pretty awesome feature. And just stick the handle right in there, clip this all shut, and you now have the original Blue Frame Astray sword, but in red. The handle's different. This handle's terrible, by the way. You can really only grab it here because this one just doesn't like to stay in the hand. Although it does have some more transformations. You can untab that handle and bring it down, and then bring these out, and it forms like a sort of minigun turret thing. Pretty cool. Or you could pull these right off and have like a separate turret gun, which you can hold. Not really though, because it doesn't like to stay in his hands. But you also get, when you flip out these pegs and these handles, you get a pair of kind of like these underarm knife weapons, and they're very cool. I'll see if I can just get one into his arm. It just plugs into the bottom of his arm, and his hand sort of wraps around the handle, and assuming his arms can hold it up, and they can, by the way, you get a very cool sort of bladed weapon. So yeah, pretty awesome. I don't think there are really any other modes. Well, I guess there's the Blue Frame Astray's flight mode, which I've actually never put it into. I'm going to have to give that a shot now for the very first time ever. I think you probably just flip all this stuff in. And of course I have no instructions for this because the instruction doesn't show you how to make the Blue Frame mode, because you're actually not even supposed to cut these parts off the sprue. You're supposed to just leave them on when you throw out the sprue pieces. But we all know that that's just not what you do. Because really nobody... Seriously, who actually throws out the parts they tell you to throw out? I mean, I keep them. I'm sure plenty of people do. I'm going to try to figure out how the heck this thing works. Down, I guess it rotates in. Anyway, my final thoughts on this kit. It's pretty cool. It's actually very cool. There's lots of neat stuff going on here. Surprising stuff. See if I can get this to sort of, I guess, come out kind of like wings. And I guess you just tilt the backpack connector itself. So you like kind of go like that. And that gives them like a flight pack. I don't know. Maybe this is where you plug it into the top port. Yeah, it's probably like this. So, as you can see, there's my sort of half-baked attempt at a flight mode. And, well, yeah, so there. Anyway, final thoughts on this kit. A lot of fun. It's tough to get into a pose, but when it's in that pose, it looks gorgeous. It's an insane build. There's some great things here with like the chrome sprues and of course the tactical arms itself. There's just so much cool stuff here. I definitely recommend it. It's a bit on the high end for Master Grade, but it is so cool. If you're gonna get like one version of the Astray, this is definitely the one to get. There are some downsides, like the joints popping out of the polycaps and the crest being loose, and the sword just being generally hard to pose with. But this is a kit where once you get into a pose, you realize why it's worth getting into a pose. And there are so many great things about this, like the knees and the cockpit, and just the general overall sculpt of this guy is incredible. So, because of that, I can definitely recommend him. This has been Second Soundwave. This is the Red Frame Astray Kai Master Grade. See you next time.